what I have concluded is so alarming that I cannot even begin to understand why the Azerbaijani government has not stepped up and done more to protect this child.
Gifted to a piece of lemon, and she eats it all, and they all make fun of her. She seems so scared.
At this point, we need to get creative. Okay, does anybody have any like mafia uncle, like gangbanger friends? I think we need a shitload of money. We need someone who has like a private jet. I think we just have to buy her.
The contents of today's video literally got me out of my year-long hiatus from making YouTube videos. Today I'd like to talk about Totu. Totu is this little baby girl whose name is actually Aysun, who was brought to this Azerbaijani show known as Sani Akhtarıram by her mother. Sani Akhtarıram is an equivalent to the Jeremy Kyle show or Caso Cerrado, in which families appear with an issue and there's a mitigator of some sort who finds solutions to their problems. In Sani Akhtarıram's case, it's Hoşgedem. So the reason why Totu's mom brought her onto the show in the first place was because she stated that she was not getting any kind of support to raise her child from her husband nor his parents. Now, in the duration of the episode, there was plenty of he said, she said, which I really don't want to get into. However, the episode ended with Hoşgedem suggesting that Totu and her mom be placed into this rehabilitation center for women and children known as Sevgi Evi. After moving into Sevgi Evi, a video surfaced of Totu going from being a healthy, happy baby to this frail and traumatized little child with chunks of hair missing from her head as she's being fed soup. Now, why was this video shared? Probably for the sake of gathering donations, because as many of you may or may not know, a lot of rehabilitation centers for women in Azerbaijan are not government sponsored. However, this triggered Hoşgedem to call the owner of the rehabilitation center and the mother onto the talk show again to clarify their names and hers. When the mother and Tonul were on the show, they obviously denied the claims, and both of them stated wholeheartedly that the reason why Totu was in such bad state was because when she had already arrived at the rehabilitation center, she had issues with her heart, she had issues with her lungs, one of her legs is longer than the other, and she also happens to have epilepsy. Now you must be wondering, how do you know all of this information? Is it because you watched hours of the TikTok content made by people from the United States about Totu? Is it because you studied their body language and somehow interpreted what they were saying in the show? No. It's because I'm Anjana, I'm an Indian citizen, and I grew up in Azerbaijan and I happen to speak fluent Azerbaijani. So, let's get further into this video. So, why have I decided to make this video? Is it because of my undying white savior complex? Oh, I'm sorry, I'd actually have to be white to do that. No. I'm actually doing this because I'm sick and tired of a bunch of people from the United States being a bunch of keyboard warriors and spreading complete, blatant, and honestly insulting misinformation about Totu and Azerbaijan as a whole. And hey, let me just clarify something real quick. I'm not one to defend Azerbaijan. You guys literally got me to defend Azerbaijan. I ran away from there, bro. Like, this is insanity. Let me just get into it, and then you can see.
Totu is in an Islamic state.
Azerbaijan is not an Islamic state. It is a Muslim populated country. However, it is a secular state, which means that the laws are not governed by religion whatsoever.
We can't go and just take her because then we'll be wanted for kidnapping. At that point, you're probably not even jailed. You're probably stoned to unaliving.
We don't have this thing that you guys probably heard from your good friend Ben Shapiro in one of his fear-mongering rants known as Sharia law, which also means that we don't have punishments as stoning or cutting someone's hand off for stealing.
In Pakistan and Afghanistan, they have bachabazi. These are dancing boys. They dress them up as women, and they have to dance in front of a room full of men.
I hate to break it to you, Karen, but not every Muslim country has bachabazi. It's very, very sad that countries like Pakistan and Afghanistan have had instances of it, which happen to be quite prevalent, but it isn't that common everywhere.
Islam is not their religion, it's not what they do, it is their culture, it is how they live. All right? Just because we as Christians don't understand the way that they live doesn't make it wrong in their culture. Do they have to grow up a lot quicker than ours grow up? Yeah.
You sound like a less educated version of Caitlin Bennett, lady. And if you know what her cognitive abilities are, you know how fucking low the bar is. Because I'm sorry, but people in Muslim countries definitely don't grow up earlier than people in the West. I'm sorry, but that is oftentimes why children in Azerbaijan are sent to boarding schools in the UK and even the US to grow up, because they progress quite slowly. It's just in our culture. It's the fact that you even thought of saying that and thought that it would be okay, and the fact that nobody called this woman out still blows my mind. Just because women have the right to wear whatever they want doesn't mean they enjoy the rights women in the West do. Azerbaijan has a tremendous domestic violence problem. For instance, the country did not sign the Istanbul Convention, which is a bill that aims to create a legal framework to protect women against any type of violence. In addition to that, it is extremely difficult for battered spouses to report crimes of abuse to the police because they're simply not believed. Or they're often minimized and told by the cops that, oh, it's a family thing, they'll figure it out. Or if the husband just makes it in time to the cops before the wives do, they can obviously pay them a little something to and to add to that, we do not have sufficient amount of rehabilitation centers for women and children, which is probably why Shalala and Totu even ended up in Sevgievi. Feminists across the country have spoken for years and years about us needing more rehabilitation centers for women, because we do have an open issue. There was an issue a couple of years ago where a father-in-law literally pulverized his daughter-in-law and threw her remains in the trash. We have this problem in the country, and we don't have sufficient places for the women to find sanctuary in. Even the ones that exist are pretty low in quality, similar to Sevgievi, and they are not government moderated. They have no government intervention whatsoever. They solely live off of grants, either from foreign countries or from people within Azerbaijan who are willing to shell out something to help the cause. Now, let's talk about the things they said about Totu. First off, for the love of God, please stop calling Totu a boy.
So it's actually confirmed that Totu is a boy. Read the caption.
Okay, so this is Tutu right after he got to the shelter.
She is not a boy. Her name is Aisun, as I mentioned earlier in this video. They are not dressing up a boy as a girl so that they can garner in more views or for any other devious acts. It's just that you guys really don't know how to use Google Translate, and neither can you grasp the concept of languages being different from good old English. Azerbaijani, similar to Turkish, is a gender neutral language, which means that there is no he or she in the language. Everyone is they or them. And instead of Google Translate translating O as they in English, it translated O as he. Now, this last one just made me laugh. I'm sorry, I know this is a serious topic, but for my Azerbaijani viewers back home, do you honestly think this lady got her shirt from Balenciaga? Or do you think she got it from 28 keçid or Sederek? I think the latter sounds about right. For my Western viewers, people wear fake designer in Azerbaijan. Not everyone can afford it. I had fake designer. We all did. We all do it. It's completely normal. I've seen old ladies in Baku flaunt socks with Gucci and Chanel logos on the same fucking foot. And do you guys honestly think people all the way in Azerbaijan give a fuck about the Balenciaga scandal in the United States? And I don't even want to spend way too much time talking about the whole Panda Conspiracy theory, because again, it's the same thing as what I previously mentioned. Panda Kids is a toy shop franchise in Azerbaijan. Could it be a monopoly? Could it be owned by the same owners all across the country? Yeah, definitely. Does it mean like it has something to do with like a full-blown pedophile ring? No. No. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure people just like pandas. Secondly, you guys are like, oh, there's a huge panda bear in the shelter. Like, why is it with the kids and everything? Why is it at the center? There's this brand that produces the Azerbaijani equivalent of Nutella, and their mascot also happens to be a panda. Is it a bit unoriginal that all of them have the same kind of mascots? Yes. But that's a branding problem, not a pedophile problem. So, moving on. And now, if you thought that was far-fetched, have a load of this. Yep. A BDSM Barbie doll. Kids make their Barbies kiss. It doesn't mean all of them are being sexually assaulted. I'm sorry, but that's not how it works. And no one was even touching the Barbie. It was just tossed at the side, so you don't even know. You're just literally making things worse by adding all of the puzzle pieces, adding scary music into the background, and writing a bunch of horrifying captions to create this American horror story of yours. No pun intended, but yeah. Like, it isn't nice. What are you trying to achieve? You are actually damaging the case. The reason why I blurred Totu's face in those particular videos was because I want to show you guys what I mean, but I also don't want to contribute to this whole thing. Because the way these women have sexualized Totu is disgusting. I know that's not what they intended to do, but by putting up a video of a baby showing her tongue and of her constantly opening her mouth and being like, oh, they're accustoming her to bad things and so on. I'm not even going to quote them at this point because it's way too vile to go and quote them. But to have those to like get into detail as to why Totu is opening her mouth puts the image of that action you're speaking of in the viewer's head, whether you want them to have it or not. It is disgusting. And do you honestly think that a bunch of creeps are not watching your videos as well? You have children as well. Would you like it if someone else would take your babies who didn't speak your language and would post about them without yours or their consent? Of course you wouldn't. It's disgusting. I know you guys are trying to help. And that's the worst part. Because I know you guys are coming from the right place. But you guys got it so fucking wrong. I mean, imagine Totu growing up and rewatching all of these TikToks made about her and reading the captions. Do you think she's going to feel nice about people blatantly sexualizing her on the internet? No! She's going to doubt her fucking existence with the amount of shit you guys have spewed everywhere. And now I know these ladies have the tendency of calling whoever disagree with them a child trafficking apologist. I'm not, obviously. Do I think Sevgi Evi is innocent? Of course not. No. Sevgi Evi is not innocent, and neither is Könül Gasimova. And it's not because she's trafficking baby Totu to Epstein Island. It's because she exploits the living shit out of Totu. She has made her entire brand identity Totu. And the reason for that is because Totu does not look like your everyday Azerbaijani child who has black hair and brown eyes. Totu is a beautiful little baby that obviously helps her garner more views and clicks. And that is what Könül uses for her benefit, because they can get funding. Can we get to the bottom of that? Of course, we can ask for open receipts. We can pressure them to show us where is the money going. We don't just want somebody who donated the money to get a receipt. On top of that, just filming her doing her everyday activities, filming Totu when she's sick just for donations, that's not ethical on any level. And remember, where there is smoke, there's always fire. People from Azerbaijan would not be accusing them of neglect if there was no reason to. Guys, I just want to hop in real quick to mention that it has indeed been confirmed by the General Prosecutor's Office that after they conducted their inspection on Sevgi Evi, that the children were being tortured in the shelter. Most of the children that were found there did have serious injuries. There was no trace of sexual violence, however, but there was definitely physical violence. But because Könül comes from a wealthy family in Azerbaijan, investigation was concluded after going on for 8 months, and the shelter was up and running as if nothing ever happened all over again. All of the information I just provided you guys with was from an article that was published on the 3rd of January 2023 on regiontv.info. It's an Azerbaijani source. We shouldn't be sitting out here being like, oh yeah, there's no sex trafficking, okay, fine. Man, what's in it for me? Why should I give a fuck? It's not that bad, right? It's still bad. It's still child abuse. It's still child neglect. It's still corruption. And we need to speak up against that. Jesus. Am I denying the fact that Totu might be getting groomed? Of course not. No. However, I hate the fact that most of the claims these ladies are making are on the basis of body language, which has been disproven It's not exactly a science. It's a pseudoscience, more or less, and I'd be happy to link a bunch of sources to prove you guys otherwise, because that's not a credible source. Now, I'm not a religious person, but there's this quote from the Bible that my best friend and I often talk about. And it is when Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," which is very, very relevant in this context. Because I know a lot of these women are coming from a good place. They do want to help. I do think to go forward, we have to work together as the international community with the Azerbaijanis to attain results that we actually want to see. So, how do I suggest we help Totu and children like Totu? We work alongside with people who actually speak Azerbaijani and English to get to the bottom of this. Contact journalists, contact lawyers, contact organizations that work with women and children, and try to get to the bottom of this if you're trying to help from afar. And for the women who said that I will give up my life savings to fly down there and rescue Totu. Okay, fine. If she's up for adoption, if her mother is willing to give her up, okay, go do that. But have you thought about the other children you're leaving behind while you take little Totu to go and live her best life in the United States? You're leaving them behind in an orphanage that has still been accused of child abuse, may I add. Why not redirect those finances into actually making a positive difference? Why not campaign to raise funds to increase the number of rehabilitation centers for battered women and children? Women's centers in Azerbaijan don't have to be provided by the government, they can be private. Open your own. Partner up with an Azerbaijani, create more jobs. Help the people, help the women, help the children, end the cycle of abuse so that you don't hear more cases similar to those of Sevgi Evi ever again. You want to make a difference as a person from a Western country in a developing country? Do it like this. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I never thought my comeback video would be one of me defending Azerbaijan. I honestly thought I would spend a series of my comeback videos dedicated to talking about all of the trauma I endured as a brown woman who uses a wheelchair. But here we are, and that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, just leave all of your thoughts in the comments. We need to make this blow up. We need to do something. I'm out. Bye.